So today's deep dive. So we have just about 30 minutes of time, and then we'll try and do QA as well. So I've tried to compress everything that I know and the mental model that I have developed while while I approach any problem or I build any AI products. And trust me, I've built around 30 35 plus AI products, agents, tools, functions. Almost every other day, I experiment with something, right? And I've kept it at a layman's level, so because like we have people from all backgrounds here, there might be people from the tech background, CXOs, CEOs, or product folks. So this will kind of resonate with everyone. So I'll quickly share my screen, and after, as in by the end of this call, I'll also drop this document so everyone has the document available, with you to take home and understand. Right. So is my screen visible? Yeah, cool. So let's get started. By the time, I guess, if you have any questions, Karthik will open the QA section or something. You can drop your questions parallelly in the chat. We'll take the questions at the end of the uh, session. Right. So the first most important part is not actually understanding about AI itself or how to build AI tools. It's about a logic that is very important. This logic I call myself, as in this I derived, or I know I arrived at myself, the cost of inherent decisions, inherited decisions. So what happens is, whenever, say, you choose a platform or a AI wrapper or any particular choice in your life, right? And so that choice in your life would come with certain decisions that have not been made by you, right? So to give you a simple example, think about a pizza. So now everyone knows about pizza, right? So you can obviously, how to make a pizza. You can make a pizza at home, or you can order it from Domino's. But if you know how a pizza is made, right? You have to have the dough. You have to have the cheese. You have to have the layers of toppings, etc. An oven, the right temperature, or any other extra stuff you want, and then you compare it with Domino's or a Pizza Hut, and then you say, okay, it's better to regularly order from Domino's instead of taking too much pain, and making at home, unless you specifically want it, right? But suppose in this case you never knew how to make a pizza, and someone tells you, gives you a list or a recipe. This is how you can make a Domino's quality pizza in 20 minutes. Now, what will happen is, since you don't know the process of making a pizza, you'll go and run in circles. Circles in the sense that, okay, where do you get the dough? Do you make it, or do you buy it? Then, how do you get the toppings, or what are the right toppings to put on? What are your favorite toppings? Now, you were expecting a cheese burst pizza, but now you don't know how to actually make it a cheese burst pizza, which is possible. Domino's does it, but you don't actually know the right process. And then, what is the specific temperature of the oven? How does it work in my oven? Now you are basically stuck, right? You spent a lot of time, you spent a lot of resources, but you are stuck, right? So this same analogy kind of applies to every other aspect of life where you have to take decisions as well, right? In this case, we are talking about AI and building about AI. So I'll talk about AI tools and AI products now. So when you use, say, a platform like Replit, Lovable, or any other AI tool builder, for say, you are inheriting a lot of decisions the teams at Replit and Lovable took on behalf of you, which in case is not bad. I'm not saying that AI wrappers or AI tools are bad, but it's just about understanding that, okay, what are the giveaways or takeaways that you are having while you're making that decision, right? Which will kind of uh, help you take better decisions, take you, kind of like help you decide, either do you build it yourself, do you buy it off the shelf, right? Or do you get someone to build it for you? So now I'll take a real world example. So you say, for Lovable, right? So you say you want to build an app, an AI powered app, and you are building it for the Indian audience. You went ahead and subscribed to Lovable, and you built the whole app. Everything was done really well. Then comes the last one small step of a payment gateway integration. Right now, Lovable has an integration available with Stripe. And at that moment, you realize that Stripe itself is not available in India. Right. So now what do you do? So now you have three particular choices. You either move your code from Lovable to GitHub. Right. After that, you have to get someone to deep dive into your code and get you a custom integration. Right. Or you have to switch to a different platform where maybe a Razorpay is available, But then once you switch to a different platform, there are new decisions that you're inheriting. There might be other limitations or other problems with the platform which Lovable was solving for you, and you might not be able to solve it for yourself on that platform. Now, or the last thing is that you wait and hope, okay, Lovable adds this functionality for a Razorpay integration, or maybe the platform evolves, or basically AGI is here, and everything can be done automatically. So that kind of becomes, for me, that kind of becomes a problem. I use Lovable, I use Replit, I build my own tools, but I choose what I have to choose and when I have to choose, because I'm able to make very well informed decisions, because I have been through, played around with a lot of APIs, a lot of processes, and from a lot of work experience of mine, that okay, this is how this decisions are taken, and this is how this industry works. It can be a simple thing like building your own personal portfolio. It can be a simple thing that analyzing your ads data. Many times, if someone is running ads and you want to analyze large scale data, so either you can connect a Facebook app which requires a Facebook approval, or from your ads dashboard you can download a CSV of your ads report. But many times you realize that once you download the CSV and upload it to say a chat GPT or cloud, the CSV file is so large that it can't analyze it for you. Then you shop around for data analysis tools, and then maybe there is a problem that you can't share that data with the analysis tool because it is very highly private data, because it has your ROI, product data, sales data, and you actually can't do that. And then you're kind of stuck. You spent a lot of time, but nothing actually came out of it, right? So the key insight about this first section was that these tools, all of these tools are useful, very useful. All rappers, everything is a rapper. All rappers are good rappers. But it is only useful when you actually know what it is useful for, right? So that's the first leg that you need to kind of understand, right? Now, if you guys understand this part, right, you can just do a little thumbs up or something. Or if you have any very critical questions, you can actually ask any critical question. Then I'll just move to the second part, which kind of would be the last part and the roadmap, and then we'll do the final QA. Cool. All right. Just give me a second. Right. So now, since we are talking about AI, and you want to, either you want to build something which already exists in the market, maybe a better version of a CRM, or maybe some internal tool for yourself, or maybe you want to build AI apps itself. Maybe you want to build something like a Lovable, or maybe something like a Replit, right? So these are the two categories what you can use AI to build something, right? And some of you might already be doing it. Some of you are founders of AI companies, so you kind of realize this. So this roadmap will help you. Why? Because as in, I also realized this after building a lot of things, that all the AI tools that are available in the market, there is nothing specifically special about them in 99% of cases. Either it be ChatGPT, either it be Cloud AI Chat, either it be Replit, either it be Lovable, or Gamma, GenSpark, any kind of product, because the underlying functionality only works on that one LLM API endpoint. Cloud Code is also using the Anthropic's API endpoint. Lovable is also using Anthropic's API endpoint, right? Then you have any other tool, they are using either OpenAI endpoint or Lovable endpoint, or maybe some open source LLM provider endpoint. So there is nothing different or extra that someone else is doing. The only difference is that what data they send to these LLM endpoints, and how do they execute the response of that data. That execution itself is different. Someone sends a prompt to write code and they return the code. The LLM returns the code and they turn that code into a website, right? Someone sends a code to write a Twitter post or a LinkedIn post. So you execute the response of that LLM API and you build a LinkedIn post out of it, right? And that is very, very good. Why? Because this reduces your task. Now you have only one task to do. And why this is important is because you will understand a lot of decisions that are being made for you. Then you can decide for yourself what should be your roadmap further. Should I continue building for myself using tools like Cloud Code, Codex, or Gemini CLI? Because in these codes also, you don't actually have to code. I have built so many tools, and honestly speaking, I have never ever written a single line of code. I have maximum written prompts or maybe tool definitions. Nothing beyond that. I still cannot write hello world without the access to internet. If you tell me write a hello world program in Python, most probably I'll run into an error, right? So now what a clear roadmap is that you pick up a very simple project, right? The simple project can be something like building your own personal website. You might already have a portfolio live, right? For building a personal website, I would suggest Lovable is the best tool. Replit is also a great tool, right? But just for learning purposes, only and only for learning purposes, how actually these API endpoints work. Just build a simple personal portfolio website and try to deploy it. Use Cloud Code, use Gemini, use Cursor, use any tool of your preference. But do this, or if a personal website does not interest you, you can take another simple project like maybe just building a presentation or maybe a meme generator generating memes. You give some prompt and it generate memes, but you don't use any no code tool to do that yet, right? Once you do this, you will understand the actual use cases and power of these LLM API providers and how they generally function. And once you understand how they generally function, and then you go back to Lovable and build a personal website, and then you'll see the process in the chat, what thinking is happening, what is happening. You will have that aha moment. Oh, this is why this is happening. This is why Lovable is now researching my website. Okay, this is why Lovable is now generating an image using Nano Banana API because some image has to be inserted in the website, right? That's why it is using Nano Banana because maybe OpenAI and Cloud, when you use Opus 4, Opus 4 does not generate images. Only Nano Banana or your GPT endpoint generate images, good images. So that's why Lovable is doing that. Okay, so this is why it is hard for Lovable also to allow you to integrate a plethora of payment gateways because agents need to be provided with a lot of code documentation. Say there is a fairly new payment gateway called Dodo Payments in India. Right now, Dodo Payments code is very new. The documentation is very new. LLMs are not heavily trained on the documentation. Now, if you ask it to generate the integration for Dodo Payments, in 99% cases, it will fail. So now Lovable or Replit cannot provide you that integration itself. So now then you are again stuck, right? So that is why this path is very important. And the only barrier you have here is since you will be doing it in a raw format, you have to get over your fear of using an IDE. So IDE is something like a VS Code or a Cursor, right? But again, in that IDE itself, all you have to do is write prompts. You never have to write code. You can trust me on this because just in a couple of minutes, I'll show you an example of a project we did for GrowthX Session 3. That project I built in 5 days. It's 1 lakh line of codes and it has 25 to 30 functionalities. Features like Lovable itself is a feature of it. And I'll just show you just after this point. Right. So now the bottom line is basically very simple. It's a very obvious thing what I'm saying. It sounds very obvious, but this obvious thing is the most important thing. After you are able to build your personal website or maybe a very simple AI project or a simple app, that is when you kind of jump to other things. Maybe you want to build a complex AI agent with RAG embeddings, chunking systems, voice input, streaming output. But even if you don't even know how a prompt is sent and how a response is processed, how will you kind of go ahead and jump to building a complex AI orchestrator, start using n8n? Because even if you say use n8n, if anyone has used n8n, there are so many functionalities, such a long learning curve. You see JSON structures, you have to modify JSON structures, and you actually don't understand that. And you can spend 1 month of time playing around with projects just in your free time. And if you even spend 1 month of time, you will actually be able to build stuff like this. So this is the project I built in 5 days, and uh, following on the 3 sessions we did earlier with GrowthX, you can also build the same stuff, right? So if you guys have used Google Notebook LLM, you can kind of see the similarity. Here you can kind of build a project. A project can have data sources. You can upload data files. You can attach links of your website or a YouTube video. You can paste content. You can connect your Google Drive from Google Drive. You can import data sources. You can run deep research agents, which will create data sources available here, right? The files can be of any type, images, audio files, video files. After that, you can actually chat with your data. You have your citations, chunking, RAG search, embeddings, right? You even have streaming like Whisperflow. So this project was built to teach all possible concepts that can be used and built using LLMs, from multimodal voice, image, video, embeddings, even a cost tracking, memory management. Like ChatGPT has a user level memory. and a project level memory. So every concept you can think of LLMs is available in this one project. So, for example, I want to speak something in English, and it has to be real time streaming. It's here. It's available here. But right before this session, just literally 20 minutes before the session, just to give you a demo, I chatted with the project, and the same document I uploaded here as a source. This is the same document which you see here, and I asked it to kind of create a website for me. Okay, I want to build a landing page for booking events. So this is Lovable. I want to build up. This is partially basically functionalities of Lovable. So now I know how it works. Now, if I even want to further improve it, I know, okay, I can provide it assets. I can provide it, GrowthX logo. I can provide it the brand kit that will ensure the output even becomes way higher. It becomes almost as accurate as possible because I know what decisions can be taken and how those decisions were taken. Unless I know that, I don't know what changes to do. And since most of you are not developers, you will always have a fresh perspective of doing things. And once you have a fresh perspective of doing things, you will be able to figure out ways of making stuff which even a lot of good tech teams can't do. For example, in Notebook LM, if I want to do a presentation, if I click on presentation and I have 20 sources, it will just randomly generate a presentation and choose any data source. But in my case, it's a very contextually heavy signal driven system which I deduced myself. And if I click on this, I can decide on what signal I have to generate a presentation. Whenever I talk about a presentation, it sends a signal with all the context. So now I have 5 different presentation options available. So today I built a presentation for this event, which I'm just for a demo. A day before yesterday, I went to a Cloud Code meetup. So this is the literal presentation I presented at the event, which I built from my own product, right? And and if you see, all other elements are deactivated because they are useless and they are not in context. But if I change my project, now you see these elements are activated. So this is very contextually driven. The main chat engine kind of controls it, but I figured it out myself because I approached it from very first principles and I kind of figured out, okay, what are all the decisions required. So here I can have ad creatives for Facebook ads. I can have business reports. So this is a business report of sales data with infographics, which is factual data. It's a Pandas data analytics agent, which runs data analysis on file types of a CSV file. Because if it is a CSV file or a database, in that case, you can even, in data sources, you can have a database as a connection. You want to connect a database, you want to connect Notion, you can connect Notion, you can connect Jira. Then once you understand these decisions, then basically your imagination is your limit. I can't think of any use case which I can't fit in this framework. I can build a peer review agent where the data source is GitHub and any raised PR can be connected to the data source. I can chat here. Yeah, I want to, see this particular logic is correct. And I have a simple agent here which gets activated, review PR. Then it can review a PR and give me report of the PR reviewed and any changes that have to be made, which is basically a product called Greptile or CodeRabbit, right? So there is no limitation because all of these products, as I mentioned earlier, work on the same API endpoint. They don't have anything special. They don't have anything extra. And that is literally it. Matlab, that is very simple to say and very obvious, but that's all. That's all there is to this, right? Say I wanted to generate a video, I can generate videos. As in whatever you can think of, literally can be done. But you should be able to think of it. To be able to think of it, you need to be aware of the process, right? And the decisions that are being taken. And again, so since I built this product for the GrowthX session, this is available, this is open source, free of cost. Anyone can use it, anyone can clone it, anyone can commercialize it because the cost of development or cost of building or the opportunity of building has kind of opened up so much that it's not about building anymore. It's about building something special and then actually be able, to go to market and sell that. Building is now just a very simple tool. It does not require a lot of resources, even to get skills or understand what decisions are being taken. You don't have to understand the code, or you don't have to understand the whole journey. You can just ask ChatGPT, how is a website built? What framework is used. You have ChatGPT Cloud. You can ask hundreds of questions there, and you can clarify all your doubts, all your concepts within a day about any concept. And based on your decisions, then you can build anything, and you can have a fresh perspective of building things. Maybe you come up with a better way of doing Notebook LM than Google. Maybe you come up with a better way of doing Notebook LM. I call this Notebook LM because I'm a noob developer and I don't know how to write code. Maybe you come up with a better way, right? So that's pretty much that there is. So I'll just drop the link of this document in the chat so that you can access this. And also, this link has the access to deep dives or recorded videos if someone is not able to access the deep dives, which has all the access to your code bases, all the sample code, all notes, and all sessions that I've already taken. Right. If anyone has doubts now, let's go to that.
Yeah, Neil, we do have a few questions from members here. I'll quickly share my screen. Yeah, folks, also now it's Q&A time. Please do drop your questions in the Slido link that I've shared. Please do ask in the Ask context format and also include a name with the question so that we can get more context from you regarding the question. Yep.
So I have dropped the link of the document as well. As in, if no one has any questions, then I would assume that I am a really great person who can explain tough concepts very easily.
We do have a few questions, Neil. Yeah, I've shared my screen.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't see the QA section itself. Sorry. Yeah, how does one actually solve the Stripe problem that you mentioned? That is building for India and then able to integrate Stripe. So you have to choose a payment gateway that is available in India. So available payment gateways in India are Razorpay, Dodo Payments, Cashfree. Then all these payment gateways also have their features and functionalities. So I for my own products, I use Dodo Payments because Dodo Payments is really good at handle taxation from international clients. And most of my clients are international because 80% of my clients are international, and I see the Dodo payments documentation. I provide the payment documentation. I just copy the documentation, provide it to Cloud Code. When I'm using Cloud Code, I use an IDE, and Cloud Code can read the documentation. I ask to and pro questions that what will be the user journey and how will we actually implement this. Once I'm satisfied, I just press enter, and the feature is implemented. What resources are you using to learn? Any YouTube playlists available? So I have never ever actually learned anything from YouTube except philosophy videos or conspiracy theories videos. Most of my learnings have come from literally Cloud Code documentation, Cloud's own documentation, OpenAI's own documentation. Again, the resources are available in the repos app that I've shared. There is a cookbook called Cookbook by OpenAI, Cookbook by Cloud. So these are GitHub repos created by Cloud and OpenAI, and you will find 100 examples here. You will find AI chatbots, you will find presentation builders, you will find website builders. So I practiced with them and I learned through there. And every day I kind of experiment and learn whatever I can learn on a day-to-day basis. How do you take it beyond the MVP stage? I'm specifically concerned about security, right? So now obviously, since I don't know how to manage a security architecture, I ensure that I use products that manage it for me. For example, security is a concern at authentication and at your database layer. So to ensure that my system is secure, I use Supabase. So Supabase provides you with RLS, which is row level security guidelines, and Cloud can set up RLS really good for you. Second, for authentication, for now, I don't even have a email and password sign up with a magic link because I don't feel at this scale I require it, right? I already have, say, around 180 active paying users, which come in from Google Auth. Now, authentication by Google is again managed by Superbase. So everything now in my app is behind a layer of Google authentication and Superbase RLS. Now, if they are broken, then God help them. And if I scale further, there are more concerns. Code is not a problem. I can hire 10x better developer than me, right? I know development is not my goal. Development is just a tool for me to kind of get to where I want to get to. I'm scared of kind of having to debug stuff on my own. I'm scared of making an app of 10K lines and then messing it up because I don't know how to debug. See, debugging is fairly easy, depending upon the framework. So for me, also debugging is a problem. Used to be a problem, but then I chose frameworks which were beginner friendly. So for my most of my apps, my backend is always in Python because Python logs are very simple. They are visible in your terminal. You can just copy paste the logs and ask Cloud to explain you. It's very important that you just don't ask it to please solve this bug. Ask it ki what is the problem and tell me why this problem was there, and then let's solve it. Because once you understand, you will ensure that next time when you're prompting, those bugs don't happen. Right? In early days, you might get bugs, but then it'll get solved. For frameworks like Node.js or React. I personally find debugging from the console log, which is on the client side. You have to open a browser, click inspect element, open console log, and then debug. I find it a little tedious myself, and that's why since the last 3 years, most of my code bases are Flask with Jinja or Flask with React. And in front end, now I have kind of figured out and become smooth with debugging, but it will take time and practice. There is no magic or extra thing that you can do except going through that learning curve. Yeah, if I am building an AI app to sell to others, how can I calculate LLM cost I will incur? Could you use Reply Daddy as an example? Right. So when you're building an AI app, you easily figure out the cost because while building itself. So now Reply Daddy has a core functionality which scans for Reddit posts, right? It takes in a certain set of keywords. It will find Reddit posts from Reddit, and then you'll get the post. Then AI will analyze the post on 4 different parameters. Now the cost of LLMs depends on your input tokens and output tokens. Now every Reddit post does not cross more than 1,000 tokens, and the analysis response is just a score. It's a two to three digit number, 0.084, 0.089, right? So for me, then I tested a few times locally, and I counted tokens, and I can see in my cloud console billing also what is the usage cost. Basically, you can calculate cost on tokens, which I showed you in the Notebook LM project as well. So I saw that the cost of one scan is around 20 to 25 cents. Don't tell it to my customers. The cost of one scan is around 20 to 25 cents. Then I added my margins, and then okay, I know that there is going to be one scan every day. So let's price it at $49, considering my server cost, my scan cost, which happens every day. If this is so good, why aren't we seeing great products out of vibe coding? Uh, it's mostly because people don't put in effort. And what people can, I don't vibe code. If I can, I don't call myself a clear cut vibe code. I have my own bare metal server. I have my CI/CD pipeline. My backend repo is separate. My front end repo is separate. Right? I deploy it myself. I don't use Replit or Lovable to write prompts and please give me an app. And I since the last 4 months, I can literally show you my logs. My users have never faced a bug, and because I've kept the functionality very limited and very clear cut. How do you learn that AI first principle, resources, context? Love your approach, first principle in terms of understanding how the decisions are taken, right? So now half of it comes from my own work experience. So I have been the product lead of Dukan. So there I have managed a lot of technical stuff. Managed in the sense developed roadmaps, helped with QA debugging. Then I have run Facebook ads at scale at millions of dollars. I have done WhatsApp integrations. I have done loyalty programs, loyalty plugins. Then separately, I have started building when LLM started coming in with GPT-3, GPT 3.5. I started building internal products at Dukan. Then I started experimenting. Like I would just go to Freshdesk and I'll subscribe to the Freshdesk plan for a month, which is like 1,200 rupees. Like it is dirt cheap. And in 1,200 rupees, I get a API access for Freshdesk, and I would create dummy tickets in it, and then I'll try to build a Freshdesk support agent which can analyze my support data. Because if in 1,200 rupees plus a $20 a month subscription, I can build that agent, I have learned a lot. So I literally have subscriptions for Jira, Notion, Freshdesk, Figma, a bunch of tools which I just play around with, and that is one part. And then I would chat with Cloud and ask it to explain me logically how I can build this. What is the framework? How do people in general do this? And then kind of replicate that, and then see, okay, maybe I'll try doing this way. I'll ask Cloud, can I do it this way? Then it will say, okay, yeah, this is also possible. Then I try and do it. There is nothing more. And you just have to do it. You have to try and do it. If you go to LinkedIn and Twitter, you will find hundreds of things. Comment template, comment framework. I'll give you this framework. I'll give you this template. But if you don't know what the template is about, you will not be able to build anything good. Yeah. Can you move to the next slide? How can I create AI SDR for generating B2B client leads and precision targeting? So this is something you have to figure out. Now, I know the answer, but like this is what the session is about. This is about building AI products. If you want more detailed discussion on this, my calendar is open. You can book a call with me. It's again free of cost. I'll explain you how I built it for Reply Daddy and how you can build it for some platforms. For LinkedIn, it is tough because LinkedIn recently changed their privacy policies because a lot of people started doing this. Now you cannot get the data publicly. You have to get the API access, which is very expensive. And they want to sell their tool called Sales Navigator, right? For other platforms, it is possible. If you have internal CRM, it is possible. Uh, but then again, it depends on the use case. I can't just vaguely answer it. How to get better at reading documentation. I find it so hard because there's always some word which I'm just paste the documentation in Cloud Code or chat and ask it to explain it like a layman. As in, I chat, how do I implement a recursive keyword analysis with Redis in task management? Now that sounds like what am I even saying? But now I understand it. Redis is a cache management and you can use it as a task or queue management product as well. And recursion is basically I have a bunch of keywords. I want to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And then I ask it, and I know this because I ask it to explain it to me in layman terms. As in, if I don't know technicalities, obviously that is the answer. This is the best part, right? I don't have to reach out to any developer or any of my friend because I can't ask them 100 questions every day. But I can literally utilize Cloud Chat or Chat GPT or Gemini to ask them as many questions I want to ask. And no one is reading the questions that you're asking. I ask the dumbest questions. If you read my chats, you'll die laughing. How viable is to make RAG-based chatbot using Llama running locally? Again, like this is a very subjective question. It is very viable. Uh, you have a product called OpenLM or something, which helps you run local LLM models, which I recently used. The token output per second is also really great. Coming to RAG now depends. If more in 90% cases, RAG is not needed. RAG is like a overused term. Your Olama, yeah. Uh, so even Cloud Code or Codex or Gemini, they don't use RAG. They have the context of large scale code bases without using any RAG. So if the LLM providers itself, they don't use any RAG, uh, why would you actually need to use it? But you can figure it out for yourself by trying RAG, and you will understand what are the use cases of it. There are semantically important searches. There are certain kind of data sets or you know uh, certain kinds of data where RAG becomes more useful. But in most cases, it's not that very useful. But don't take my word for it. Again, I'm not saying the same ideology applies here. So this is my mental model which I have arrived logically. You can try and do this. You can figure out stuff for yourself. Yeah, just one second. Building an AI-powered mental wellness app at MVP stage using Copilot and Cursor with various OpenAI and Gemini keys. How do I proceed to implement SLM? What is SLM?
A small
Like,
language model.
oh no, I have not used small language models. I have no experience of using SLMs yet, so I wouldn't be able to answer that. But one of my suggestions would be when you do a mental wellness app, uh, the larger issue comes with compliance because compliance in the sense with people who are using it and the data privacy laws, that is very complicated. So whenever you're building for something in the medical field or the legal field or the financial field, the data becomes very critical, and the liability of something going wrong is very high. So just be sure about all the laws and rules that you are kind of building. Yeah, but about SLMs, I have no, views. All these apps that you can create can be created using tools like V0 or Lovable, right? No, none of my app can be created using V0 or Lovable. If they were, why would I create it myself? And I can challenge you on this anytime. I can challenge the founder of Vercel. I can challenge the founder of Lovable. I've been following his repo GPT Engineer since before Lovable. I have used GPT Engineer, his repo itself. They have reduced the scope of GPT Engineer to make it production ready. GPT Engineer was able to build apps at a decent scale if you prompt it better, but that cannot go to production because people want to build a lot of separate things. And if you see product management frameworks, you will want to first solve problems for 80% people. And 80% problems are very simple landing pages or websites. Now they have recently started moving into apps, and that to not very full scale apps. And if you think you can build with V0 and Lovable, I'll donate Reply Daddy to you. You go build it with V0 or Lovable. I can guarantee you it's impossible. How many years of development experience do you have? I have 0 years of development experience, but I have 3 years of learning experience with code because I keep fighting with code. I keep trying to learn. I can't write code, but now I can read and understand code really well. It's fairly simple. It just looks scary, a lot of errors, but at the top of the error and at the bottom of the error, a simple thumb of rule, you will find what the error codes are, or in Python, it will actually kind of tell you what might be the possible reason of this error, and that's pretty much it. You have to get your hands dirty. There is no other way around it. And how did I learn to speak? Because I practiced how to speak. I couldn't take a LinkedIn course or a YouTube course on how to speak and learn speaking in 30 minutes or one day. That's impossible. So do you need to be a techie to go beyond vibe coder and actually ship great products? You don't need to be a techie. See, so you see this again is a very logical framework. Now I know that after say I have 1,000 users or 1,500 users, I will start facing technological problems which I might require assistance. But that is like a really good problem to have. If I have 1,500 users, that means I will be doing around 60, $70,000 in revenue per month. I can hire any developer I want to hire, and I can onboard them. They'll believe in me. I can pay them really well, and they can solve problems for me because development is not a problem. Coding is not a problem. It is just your mental blocker that I need to be great at coding. You just need to understand what problems need to be solved when, as in like people start thinking about load balancer on day one. As in you give me, I want a load balancer problem. I am literally waiting for when I would require a load balancer in my app because that is the day I am sure a lot of users are using my app. There's a course by 100x Engineers for AI. It's 1.5 lakh. Have you heard of it? Do you think I have not heard of any course? I have a course on my website that is 2.5 lakhs, but you will be 1000x engineer. I have heard of that, but it is free. Actually, I'm kidding. You would be able to do whatever I am able to do because that is I have excluded all the mistakes I did and I've just made my mental framework and roadmap into those projects. I tried to build an app without coding, but I'm familiar with how to create real apps, real architecture. There is there is there is nothing crazy about architecture. Again, this is a problem. This is a very imaginary problem. Architectural problems will come once you actually scale. So right now, for example, Reply Daddy, I know till 1,000 users, I don't need more than one Flask worker and one front end endpoint because that one worker can handle approximately 200 requests per minute. A simple Supabase database DB on a $20 plan can handle up to 6 to 7,000 queries per minute, right? 6 to 7,000 queries per minute. So if it can handle 6 to 7,000 queries per minute, the problem only arises when I start getting those queries. And we'll solve the problem when it arises. Do you self-host all your products? Yes, I self-host all my products. I have a bare metal server from IOFlood. It's $100 server. I manage it using Coolify, open source Coolify, and I have around six hosted projects. My personal website, Reply Daddy, uh, Notebook LM is going to be hosted there shortly. ShipStation, my old project, a bunch of projects for my clients where I work as a freelance developer. So that is there. So yes, I do self-host. I started with Heroku, but in early days Heroku was really good, and I tried Vercel as well. But then I started running into problems with frameworks and deployments with them and actual costs as well. And sometimes Heroku will overshoot to $200 for a single project for very basic stuff. But then Subhash, the CTO of Dukan, where I used to work, he recommended that uh, you can just do IOFloat server, and it is more than enough for 1 million users per month, as in that one server. So I'm waiting for the day I have to upgrade my server. If you're setting up your own CI/CD pipelines and other things, then how can you say it's non-tech oriented? Because I'm, as in like, that is my perspective, and it's a very simple CI/CD pipeline. There is a particular a branch name from GitHub. It sends a webhook to my Coolify, and once that branch webhook is received, a new deployment starts. If the deployment is successful, it replaces my old Docker. If it fails, my old Docker is not replaced, and I receive the error log. And this is for all of my repos. It's a very simple CI/CD pipeline. I can add more checks in this. I can have multiple branches, but that is not required right now. But I know all of this because I just read and learn. I ask questions and learn. I literally cannot write code, but I can understand technology. So if you want to build with AI, how is that not tech oriented? I think talking with Lovable and building is also tech oriented then, right? It's the same case. Right? How do you do unit testing or manual testing, automated or both? So currently, 80 to 90% of my testing is manual. Only for any critical change that is mostly around database migrations, I'll write dummy migration scripts and try to run those migration scripts with a rollback system so that it does not break the experience of my production users. And I know this how because I worked at Dukan and have seen migration problems at production. That is from my work experience. So that I knew. Okay, I cannot have issues with this. So I have to take care of migration. I have to ensure because if I change a database table and there's a lot of data present, I cannot just randomly modify it at my whim. So I have to be sure if the data is present, then how do I safely migrate it, right? If there are no users, then if I run into a problem, I just delete the DB and I create it again. Well, that is the fastest way. Instead of running migration and fixing the DB, I know I have zero users. I just delete the DB. I create a new DB. That's the best way to do it. Yeah. In current times, how much coding do I need for AI PM role? I have no idea. I don't know how people hire for AI PM roles. I have literally no clue. Could you please share the link of your course? Is it just those three sessions? It is just those three sessions. They are fairly detailed. If you look at the code base, it is step by step. It has every file step by step. It is literally named step one, step two, step three, step four, up to Notebook LM, all the steps, right? And maybe in the future, I'll do a couple of more deep dives. Mostly, uh, mostly next year. I have no short plans yet because I have to spend the next 10-15 days scaling my apps and add new functionalities to my app as per my roadmap. So I'm kind of busy with that. But other times I'm free. If you want more detailed something, you can reach out to me. And mostly if I'm available, we can have a one-on-one or an online session. There's no charge. From a hiring perspective for any PM position, what are the must-have projects that should one include in their portfolio? Again, don't know. I have no hiring advice. I don't myself want to do a job, so I stay away from, applying for jobs or having any hiring advice or hearing any hiring advice. Which city do you put up in? Currently, I'm in Mumbai. For the last 8 years I was in Bangalore. Uh, I'm originally from Jaipur.
Uh, okay.
Yeah, Priyanka asked the server. I have typed the server in chat. It's called IO Flood, right? Uh, yeah. Yeah, and I've pasted the documentation link. I will paste the documentation link again, just in case you want to access the documentation. At the end of the document, you have links to access the resources, the learning resources.
Neil, I believe there are no questions. Rahul has a question. How do you research the problems?
Yeah, that is more like, I keep reading a lot of stuff, and based on my work experience, I have over the last 10 years developed a decent intuition. And then I try to validate the problem. I talk to people. I'll just post on Twitter or I'll see or read Reddit threads. Uh, nothing above and beyond that. Uh, and I still don't know. As in, I keep trying. I'm not sure. So right now, Reply Daddy is doing around $17,000 in revenue. Once it is stable after 6 months, then I would say, ki, okay, I have figured out some strategy or GTM. But till that moment, I'm not sure what is the right strategy because I try to do whatever I can do. And once I see patterns and I recognize those patterns, I can say more. Ki, okay, this is some pattern I recognized. Maybe you can try that. But before that, I would not say how do I validate or research the problem. Validation, I can tell you. If you have a problem, just slap a payment button to that problem and see if people pay. There is nothing beyond that. There is no user feedback, review, etc. Start posting on LinkedIn, start posting on Twitter, add say pre-sign up, partial payment. Just attach a payment gateway. If someone is ready to pay for a problem, then there is a problem. If no one even signs up or no one even tries to pay for it, then that problem is definitely in 99% cases not valid. There is no other specific framework that you need. The frameworks are important. Once you scale a lot, say you have a million users and now you want to increase the price of Amazon Prime Video, or you want to include ads in Prime Video and then want to charge users 199 rupees extra to reduce prices, then you have a lot of data to look at. But when you're trying to validate a problem, first of all, you don't have a lot of data, because if you're starting out, if you're already at a very large company, obviously you can use frameworks. Then frameworks are really helpful. But once you don't, at an early stage or at even a early startup or a growing startup, you don't have that much amount of data. So it's better to try 10 problems and 10 approaches and fail faster and kind of figure out.